evening, everyone. It's Monday once again. It's Monday evening. Good evening sa'yo, Doris, Doc Lee.
Well, it's August 3, and let's do our introduction first.
Yeah, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Ako si Attorney E.
And ito si Doc D.
Dito sa
Tapang
Usapang Ed,
Ed.
Season 2. Walang Season 2 si Doris.
Season 2, I forgot. Okay,
Season 2.
Okay, so anyway, it's a Monday and we're not together, but there's a lot that happened last Monday. I remember nasa Davao City tayo.
Nasa Davao tayo last week.
Yeah, we had a very good session with the president of the University of Mindanao, Dr. Willie Torres, no? And impressive work that they're doing there.
So I think they have to be the University of Mindanao they should be recognized more. No? Because and I think it's a good case study, What were they doing ba right? Others are not doing.
A conversation with some presidents after that, and they were saying much to learn from University of Mindanao, meaning 55,000 students from low-income groups. In other words, na-target nila yung pinakamaraming populasyon sa Pilipinas.
Yes.
So affordable sila. Pero de kalidad, as born by, they're top-notchers in board exams, quality assurance, and walang union.
Yes. Tapos very low attrition rate, both students and teachers. Diba? And they are able to compete with free education in the public sector, diba? From government. So, it's sabi nila, and it's really a long period of gestation. Sabi nga.
Right. We asked him, Dr. Torres, how many years before a school can actually stabilize, and sabi niya mga between 10 to 20 years.
Because of their own, diba? How they were able to do it. Parang after 10 years, dun pa lang nila nakikita. And then after 20 years, dun pa lang nag-stabilize. But very, it's a very good case study. And we had a very good kwentuhan with Dr. Willie Torres.
Right. So yung mga hindi pa nakakapanood, I know some of our viewers kasi, they tell us, in conferences, na talagang tinutuloy-tuloy nila yung panonood. Parang teleserye pala ang ginagawa nila dito sa Usapang Ed. So hopefully pag umabot kayo dun sa sa episode last July 27, there's really much to learn. Okay, so what's next for us?
Teka, balita ko ng side trip kasi after ko sa University of Mindanao, nag-fly na ako to Manila at naiwan kayo. Ano ba nangyari? Balita ko meron kayong side trip.
May side trip kami at ito yon ipapalabas natin ang ating side trip.
Okay. So let's watch. You have a video?
Yes, School Flex.
School Flex.
Lyceum of the Philippines University, Davao.
Okay, nice.
At Lyceum of the Philippines University Davao, academic excellence seamlessly blends with a vibrant modern campus life. Located in LPU Town Buhangin, the state-of-the-art campus provides students with an inspiring space to learn, collaborate, and discover their true potential.
Hi and welcome to LPU Davao. I am Dr. Kenny James P. Marion, the Vice President for Academic Affairs. Here at LPU Davao, we are 2,000 plus strong students. We currently have basic education, our senior high school, which is branded as junior college. And we also have our higher education, which houses almost 20 higher education programs. And we also have our professional institute, which houses our International Culinary Institute and the Air Academy. So our flagship program here is our Tourism and Hospitality Management along with all our campuses. But in LPU Davao, we have added a new flavor. We have our newly established College of Forensic Science and Legal Studies. And we are the only school in Region 11 to offer Bachelor of Forensic Science. Forensic Science focuses on evidence retrieval, the science behind it, and of course, the legal basis of all the documentary requirements when we have our forensic studies. We also have our aeronautical engineering, and we also have our aircraft maintenance engineering under the College of Engineering and Aviation. We are one of the few schools who offers AMT and also aeronautical engineering. And we also have our International Culinary Institute. Previously, we have championed the Davao Culinary Cup, Philippine Culinary Cup, and Davao Halal Cup. Recently, in the Davao Culinary Cup, we have won a lot of golds and silvers, and these have been one of our greatest achievements in our Culinary Institute.
Hi, I'm Jason Barlan. I'm the Chief Operations Officer of LPU Davao. And we would like to invite you all, come visit LPU Davao and experience the vibe. Surely, you will enjoy our facilities and our lifestyle campus.
Driven by a commitment to learn different, live different, LPU Davao empowers the next generation of leaders to shape an extraordinary future.
That's what you missed.
Oh, mukhang I missed a lot.
Yeah. So that was Jason Barlan and Dr. Kenny, no, the Vice President. Of course, the President is Dr. Peter Laurel.
Yes. Ano ito? Sa Davao talaga yon, yung shoot nyo na yon. That's really the
The Davao
campus.
City Campus is very beautiful.
Ganda.
Oo, ang nakakatuwa sa kanila na talagang in my mind, no? And that's the thing that I admire, no, with many of our private schools. Talagang naghahanap sila ng niche, no? So sila, they have aeronautical engineering, they have bachelor's in forensic science. Sabi ko, ano yan? So it's really more advanced than criminology.
Mm-mm.
So it's really now, like, I was saying, so scene of the crime operative, no, ang dating, no, so that they can testify in court, they can do the tests. Like, I suppose some of those we knew, no, like in Dr. Rachel Fertu, no, the kind of work that they do. Very, very, sabi ko nga, niche building talaga.
Alam mo, Doris, napakaganda niyan. Kasi sa totoo, yung on the ground, marami talaga mga kaso. Sa mga crimes, maraming mga kaso ang nadidismiss dahil sa hindi maayos na investigation ng mga law enforcement. So, they really have to be, and that's a reality, they have to be trained, no, in that aspect. Kasi sayang, no, pag umakyat sa korte or minsan sa level pa lang ng fiscal, sa public prosecutor pa lang nadidismiss na, no, because so this is really very good. 'Di ba sabi ni Dr. Peter Laurel, no, nung tayo ay nagpunta sa Batangas, talagang sabi niya yung niche ng mga school sila, they see to it na 'di ba hindi magkakapareho, hindi nagko-compete, no, mga LPU schools. So ito pala sa Davao, this is another niche project, no, ng LPU. So, mukhang na-miss ko nga ang magandang campus ng Davao. Bale, dadalaw ako diyan soon. Pag nagawi ako sa Davao ulit. Okay, so tonight, ano bang usapan natin, Doc D? By the way, mga ating mga suki na nanonood, si Dr. Royce Torres is again catcher pagdating sa attendance sa usapang ed. First na, unang-unang mag-log ng attendance. Good evening sa iyo, Dr. Royce.
Yes. Nakita ko na nga siya dito. Of course, we also have Angelo Gabriel de la Rosa. Also saying, hello po, Attorney E and Doc D. So sabi natin tonight, we will take a look at the SONA of the President, no, which was also last Monday, July 27. And then we'll see kung ano yung naging education report in the SONA.
Wala daw masyado, no? Actually, yung the SONA itself is a short, no? Very short SONA. Parang barely 1 hour and 30 minutes, no? And education, I think parang dalawa lang yung na-mention about education, really, no? So, but it doesn't really give the broader picture of the state of our education in the Philippines. So, I'm sure mga educators na nanonood sa atin ay alam, no, yung mga halo-halong problema na nga. At nadadagdagan pa, no? So, iyon, pag-usapan natin. Ikaw ba, Doc D, what's your assessment muna? Sige nga, yan. Of
So,
the...
marami naman, no? So, marami naman na ang nakapag-comment na nakukulangan sila, no? Sa pagsabi ng President, priority ang education, and yet walang masyadong laman, no? Dun sa paano siya magiging priority, paano siya naturingang priority of this administration. So, of course, so there are some things that we should congratulate this administration for. For example, yun na nga, yung 2026 budget.
Yeah.
2026 budget. That
Historical, no?
talaga namang siya. Significant, historical, and it's really something that we will have to celebrate kasi for the first time, nakapasok tayo dun sa requirement, no, ng UNESCO that the global benchmark of about we are at 4.4% of GDP. So we're okay there, no? But that's the funding, no? But I think what we have seen thus far, no, of course, nag-report about the strengthened senior high and work immersion, nag-report about the initiatives of TESDA and even SHED, no, of us getting rankings, no, international rankings, tapos yung career progression ng mga teachers, and the need to secure the schools, no. Ito lagi yung bottom line, no, ng marami sa private ed. Marami sa atin, no, even in EdCom. Is all of this budget really spent so that our students will actually learn in a safe and secure environment?
Yes. Oh. Yeah, I think that's really the big question to ask. Pero ang tanong sa how, no? How do we go there? Yun ang doon yung naging complication. So it's not that simple because of the increasing complexities, no, in the education environment. Halo-halo na. Safety issues nga ngayon, di ba? Sobrang dalas ng mga news almost on a daily basis. Almost every day, excuse me. So, I think, Doris, ako naman, it's obvious na we are in a better place now than the previous, just being objective na. Then there are set of leaders now in education. We are in a better place na. So that's a plus, no? That's a good sign. Pero marami pa rin talaga, malayo pa rin tayo, no? But at least we're starting. We're not saying naman totally in the past wala naman, but I think ngayon lumilinaw. So I think hindi naman siguro yun attributable to only a few people, but I think talagang marami rin nag-culminate na dito at this point in time. But we still have a lot to do, no? Malaking bagay din syempre na meron tayong EdCom 2, no? But I think there's still a lot to be done. And if we're talking about current administration, so by next year, ibang-iba na ang pakiramdam kasi election year na ng 2028. No? So practically we have 1 year remaining, yung totoong year, no? Removing holidays, siguro removing the time na filing na ng mga COCs for candidacy. So wala na masyadong magagawa doon. So we have practically 1 year left. Ano pa yung mga pwede nating gawin given the pronouncement of the president in last SONA? I think dapat natin talaga pag-isipan.
Okay, so tama naman, no, na parang much better. In fact, no, Philippine Business for Education earlier, no, was loading, of course, the budget, and then the fact that we have Secretary Angara, Secretary Benitez, and Chair Group is actually coordinating. Okay, so that's a big plus, no. However, we were saying from last year's SONA to this SONA, that's just 12 months, no. Given the decades, no, that we will have to really, that we intend to resolve the issues all these years, medyo hindi talaga kadamihan malamang ang pwedeng sabihin na very solid gains, no. Talaga namang madami. So ako dati pa, no, ang palagi kong sinasabi, from 1991 EDCOM. Tapos, nag-identify ng mga problema including the illiteracy, no? Despite supposedly completing basic education. And then ngayon nag-EDCOM, lumabas na yung mga reports ng EDCOM, ganun pa rin. No? Ang issue ng students are apparently not learning, are below standard, even if they're inside the classroom. World Bank also said that. Pero ang tingin ko, ang solution dito, at minimum, 18 years. 18 years. Between 12 to 18 years. Ako kasi 18. Sabi ng iba, sana man lang 12 para 2 terms of disciplined execution. Disiplinado. Na talagang iisa-isahin, tutuloy-tuloy, consistent, hindi political. Diba?
Right.
Yun ako tingin ko. No? Kasi for example, ano ba ang mga nakitang malaking problema ng EDCOM? Lalo na sa basic education na yung committee na kung saan ako nandoon. No? Napaka-basic Walang libro. Kulang sa teachers, kulang sa classrooms, yung kulang ang class days. No? On the average, 50 class days are lost. Kaya sabi ko nga, naghahabol ka, pero kulang ang class days mo based on the number of days required for the curriculum to be implemented.
Yes.
So, ang nagiging solution, apparently, are changes in the curriculum. Now, of course, hindi naman siya 100% wrong, no? Because like, for example, yung work immersion na dinagdag natin sa senior high school tech program, talaga namang kailangan damihan para nga naman yung bata talagang ma-certify para mag-work ready. Pero yung mga ibang bagay na napaka-basic, ano pa rin siya You know, the classroom construction definitely is still a big problem. Faculty and then guidance counselors still a big concern. And then the number of class days lost. I'm not sure how last year looked like, school year 25-26, but the prior EDCOM report said that in the minimum 50 days are lost. So, diba? Very basic yung mga problema.
Yeah, I agree with you, Doc D, na siguro dun muna try muna natin i-solve yung basic So, sabi nga ni Kong Roman, di ba, yung reading. So actually, pag yun ang nag-focus ka nga naman doon, no, na malaking bagay because it will open more learning opportunities, no. If students know how to read, ang problem nga is may mga grade 7 ka na, and even in higher grade levels na hindi nga nakakapagpasa. So, sana yung piliin mo na yung mga basics, no? Na i-solve yung problem. Of course, they're doing a lot now on malnutrition, stunting of children. Okay naman yun, but these are really starting preschool pa nga ito di ba?
Yeah.
Magsasabay, paano natin magsasalubong? Kasi meantime, you produce, you promote, no? And you graduate, no? So, hindi pwedeng doon lang tayo magsisimula. So, parang, paano ba to? Tapon na to mga tao. Kulit na natin mga bagong estudyante.
That's right. Okay, so isipin mo yung K-12 mo ngayon ng mga estudyante, no? Ang sabi ng EDCOM, but sinabi rin ng Philippine Business for Education, largely yan talaga below standard ang mga yan. Diba? All assessments will below standard. Pero nandiyan na sila. So napopromote sila, tinatry mo remediate, pero talagang merong hindi talaga abot sa tamang level nila. Diba? Kasi nga, how do you make the bridging work very quickly when you do not have the basics? Right? Tapos, meron ka pang problema talaga ng safe environment. Na it also becomes a focus of DepEd. Naghahabol na ako sa competencies that will have to be really learned by the student. Meron pa akong safety issues na naging problema. Pero yung competencies natin, na nag-umpisa sa mahinang foundation, na matagal nang na-detect, tapos may kasama pang gutom, right? Stunting and malnutrition. Kaya ang requirement ngayon ng mundo, hindi naman lang reading. Hindi nga rin reading comprehension. Ang requirement ng mundo, critical thinking, creative thinking, analyzing, decision making, yan ang requirement ng mundo. Okay? Because of the AI and technology and the fourth industrial revolution, andun na tayo. Andun ang kailangan. Diba? So, yung hinahabol natin, iba.
basic pa lang, no? 'Di ba? So sobrang ano na layo pa natin talaga, no? Minsan gusto ko nga minsan na sana i-research paano ba tayo napunta dito sa sitwasyon na 'to?
Kasi kanina, before tayo nag-start, meron kasing nilabas na figures noon ng PISA na-mention din kanina, no, ng Philippine Business for Education, na tayo ay bullying capital of the world. Yung sinasabi ko, ang mga Pilipino, akala ko ba we are a country who is known for hospitality and being friendly and really congenial, respectful. So what happened?
Mm. Ako kasi sa akin I'm biased pagdating sa character formation and discipline kasi ano yan yung the role of educational institutions in the character formation, that is it has a constitutional anchor. Imagine that, how serious is that? Ang ibig sabihin nun, if you pass any law, no, even a law, you pass a law, you pass a government regulation or administrative issuance that conflicts with that, is illegal, is unconstitutional, because there's a mandate in the Constitution that says education institutions shall inculcate all of these values, etc. No? That's the mandate of education institutions. So I think that's very important for us to revisit kasi the long-term solution to bullying and school-related violence is still character formation. Kasi ngayon ang knee-jerk reaction is, kung mapansin mo, Doc D, dahil sa nangyari ng lahat ito, tingnan mo, lowering of age of criminal responsibility, di ba? The DOJ opening up to complaints on bullying, putting more PNP stations near schools. Ibig sabihin, tighter security measures, no? 8 billion budget for security guards, CCTVs in classrooms. So pag tiningnan mo, para bang ang problema ba talaga natin is paano natin huhulihin yung mga masasabang bata? Doon na ba tayo na lang nakatutok, or are we not trying to solve the issue or the problem at its roots, 'di ba? Which is sana character formation at a very young age. So that's very easy to say, pero pag tiningnan mo kasi yung sistema, parang hindi na natututukan 'yon. But I'm sure hindi naman yan deliberate. Pero sa dami kasi ng problema, doon pa lang sa basics, nalilimutan na nga yung pag-form ng holistic person at a very young age. So, I think compounding din ng problems eh. Kaya hindi naman tayo dumating basta sa may stabbing na at shooting. No. I'm sure nagsimula yan sa maliliit na misdemeanors and misconduct.
Pero agree ako sa iyo, attorney, no? Dapat character formation, very important, values formation. But I don't want to blame the school. Diba?
Yeah, definitely.
Diba? Ang character formation, hindi lang yan eskwelahan, responsible din ng eskwelahan. Obviously, it's every one of us, the entire Philippine society, the homes, the civic society, government, the church. So lahat yan, no? So sa akin, parang kasi dati lagi kong sinasabi, magbasa ka ng libro ng Civica, yun ang description ng mga Pilipino.
Yeah.
Diba? Respectful. O bakit ngayon mag-social media, Facebook or any other social media platform, you will see how full of vitriol and full of how language it is. Na to me is seemingly very un-Filipino, no? Kung tama yung pananaw ko sa ano talaga yung Pilipino. Now, having said that, so lahat tayo kailangan sama-sama sa character formation. But for that to happen, pinag-usapan natin ito before, eh. Ano pa ang nakikita ng kabataan ngayon?
Correct. Kasi tama ka, alam mo, yung nangyayari sa school, reflection naman talaga yan of what's happening in the society, eh, di ba? Pero Doc D, gusto ko lang balikan, I agree with you. Madalas nga nasasabi sa cliche na nga na it takes a village to di ba, to educate a child. So pagdating sa character formation, it's a whole community, whole of government approach. That's true. Pero yung talagang the parents kasi nasa constitution din natin child rearing is really the natural and primary right and duty of the parents. Sila talaga. Ang role ng gobyerno is to support that role of the parents. Saan pumapasok yung private schools? Kasi the private schools, ang role niya is yung 'di ba, special parental authority. So in essence it's still, 'di ba, just supporting the role of the parents, because when they send their children to schools, kailangan hindi nawawala yung character formation. So I think pag yan dapat tingnan doon doon ang gagaling talaga dapat. So, because of that, tingnan mo, wala naman masyadong... So a policy gap, for example, is meron ba tayong batas? Meron ba tayong mga policies ngayon in place to support that parental role in shaping the character of students or children? Wala naman eh. Hanggang ngayon, ang tumatatak lang is PTA. Diba? But other than that, is there any, and we just say, mga ngayon, mga training, dialogues, parental dialogues or platforms. Pero other than that, I'm sure marami pa tayong pwedeng maisip na suporta, palakasin ang magulang, palakasin din ng mga schools pagdating sa karakter. Kailangan magbalance yan. Hindi dapat hindi competing interests yan eh. So this is, ako from just observing, ito sana yung mga bagong mga areas na pwedeng sanang magkaroon ng mga batas or policies, especially since you've opened up about the issue on bullying. PISA 2019 at 2022 pa yan eh. Ang tanong, since then, whether it's within the legislature or level of the executive agencies, ano bang ginawa natin? Ano bang kinalabasan ng mga discussions at researches? So whatever it is, wala pa tayo masyado nakita ngayon. Meantime, there's stabbing, there's shooting, there's report of violence almost on a daily basis. Diba?
It's an unfortunate, no? But there was, I think, one. I don't remember, it was a forum that I attended. So what changed, from the time that we claim that this is how we were behaving as Filipino to the present? And of course, what came out is social media. The prevalence of social media, and even the parents are practically, practically helpless, in the exposure of their children to social media platforms, and even everything in the internet, which is contrary to the values that we are teaching. Kaya nga in the CAP-NCR, magkasama tayo doon, nandun tayo sa Catholic Education Association of the Philippines, NCR. I think I said it there, na parang this is the most difficult time for parents and educators. Itong mga panahon na to. Kasi samahin mo ang forces, that are there, that they will have to contend with as parents.
Yeah.
Ang hirap i-navigate ng parenting.
Yeah, tama yun. So, alam mo, agree ako dun sa kanina yung sinabi mo. For example, sabi mo, we tend to blame the schools. I think, ngayon pag tiningnan mo, we put too much burden on the schools pagdating sa mga bata. Di ba? Tingnan mo, Doc D, yung nangyari because of the violence. Mo, kabilaan ng mga discussion sa mga news na dapat na bang ipagbawal sa school ang cellphone? Mga ganyan. So, pero pag inisip mo, alam mo actually, pagdating nga sa school, kung may dalang cellphone or social media, regulated nga dun kasi it's a regulated environment, di ba? May teacher, may ginagawa ang mga estudyante, may klase. Actually, mas pa nga pag ang bata ay tatapos na sa kanyang klase, nakauwi na, yun nga ang unregulated time Kasi hindi naman nababantayan ng parents, no? Na katulad ng pagbabantay ng So that's an example na parang, di ba, actually, minsan nga pag inisip mo yung safety, kahit ngayon safety is a concern. In many places, minsan, school is still the safest place where students should be, di ba? Kaysa doon sa mga communities nila kung nasan yung mga bata. So, I think we should change our mindset. No? Tama ka, we put too much burden and blame on schools.
So babalik tayo dyan. Ako, naalala ko bigla si Dr. Alan Bernardo of De La Salle University. I remember he was in one of our earlier episodes. Sabi nga niya, parang yung PISA is really not just about the scores in science, math, and English, but let's bullying. Probably we should ask him again. Given the PISA of 19 and 2022 on bullying per se, right? Making us the bullying capital of the world. Kasi yung nilalabas na figures kanina, dun sa press conference, again, you will fall off your seat. 43% of Filipino girls and 53% of Filipino boys reported being bullied. At least 3 times a month. This was 2022 PISA. Kalahati ito ng lahat ng estudyante, di ba? And then we rank first among all the 79 participating schools in bullying. Siguro we can tackle this more with someone who is more more of a psychologist than one that will just look at the results of the tests, and in terms of literacy and reading and numeracy and critical thinking, but more the aspect of bullying siguro. I'm very interested with that. No? The second ito, kanina sinabi mo, ito naisip ko rin eh, pero siguro si Clink ang kausap dito, Commissioner ng Commission on Filipinos Overseas, no, the Secretary. Yung kayang very, very significant na Filipino migrant workers getting separated from their children, right? Yes, there are lolas, di ba? And probably some significant adult, I suppose, but probably not 100%. Merong ganong klaseng supervision. Does it affect yung formation that we want? Values and character formation.
For sure, merong effect yan, you know? Yung when you separate the children from the parents because they need to work abroad, for sure merong effect yan. And tama, let's invite an expert. Pero I think easily can already see that children change behavior when they're not with their parents. No? So halo-halo na yan. No? Yung iba, galit, frustration, or separation anxiety, or they're now under the care of people who do not really guide them as their natural parents would do. So I'm sure may social impact yan. Education pa rin ng ano, no?
And of course, ito naman, sabi ko nga, hindi naman vacuum ito. Di ba, poverty. Obvious naman.
Poverty, yes.
Ano ang effect ng poverty. Therefore, when you say village, you actually mean the entire Philippine society. Because the poverty of Philippine society contributes, no? Definitely to low achievement, to students, children being prone, no? To abuse and bullying. Diba? Kasi, di ba pag inisip mo, kung 1991, nagre-reklamo na tayo tungkol sa literacy levels. So yung mga inireklamo natin noon, adult na sila ngayon. So sila yung mga magulang, sila yung mga lolo, lola. Di ba? So, ang hirap.
Yeah, so maraming areas in education na dapat ay ma-address, no? So medyo kulang nga dun sa SONA, hindi masyadong na-tackle. Pero nabanggit na natin yung iba, but ang isa pa, like for example, lack of resources, no? Nabanggit mo yung lack of classroom. So I don't think masosolve yan even in the 18 years or na sinasabi natin kung if we will just rely on government building all of this infrastructure. So ang sinasabi nga is how we can harness the resources of the private sector, no, to save government from spending more, and when they spend it is more efficient. So ako ang isang syempre naasahan sana natin ay yung pagpasa, no, nung Basic Education Voucher Assistance Act, no, na mag-expand ganong subsidy program to K to 6, no, para buo na yung K to 12. Kasi yun sana, I think with that public and private partnership, malaki ang may tutulong sa gobyerno niya, no, in terms of resources. Kasi nga habang they try to catch up with the backlog in the classrooms, no, meron namang spaces in the private sector. So kaya lang, parang kinapos lang naman, malapit na.
Actually, may naghihintay noon, nitay nila sa SONA na, di ba, sabi
Yeah.
priority bill siya ng presidente, di ba? So, hindi nabanggit, no, apparently sa SONA, no? So, kasi yun nga, as we said, no, expanding GASPE, putting more funds for GASPE so that there'll be more vouchers, no, for students so that they can be in private schools will solve a lot, no, of our problems with congestion, lack of classrooms. And then, ang magiging bottom line sana sa dulo, kalidad. Diba? Yan sana yung bottom line natin sa dulo. Pero, I was like talking to former Undersecretary for Admin, Ray Laguda. I think there was really very serious, they had a lot of success also in closing, and making sure that they're able to build all the classrooms, during the 6-year period, no, of then Secretary Luistro. And they had a lot of support sa Adapt a School program, sa mga civil organizations, other private partners, and of course, government. So, again, babalik ka sa whole of nation approach. Minsan kasi parang nung pandemic, nag-whole of nation approach ang sinasabi natin. No? Kasi parang parang earth-shaking yung yung pandemic eh. Yung education kasi, pag sinasabi natin whole of nation, parang minsan labas sa ilong yata. Kasi hindi earth-shaking, no? Parang hindi siya lindol eh. Diba? Parang hindi siya baha. Diba? But over time, we will see. And actually, we're seeing it now.
Yes, it requires a lot of work. In other words, parang hindi mo agad makikita yung so yung results. So very, very few people have that patience especially if we're talking about limited 'di ba terms ng mga ating officials, maximum na nga 6 years So parang kailangan may makita na agad, parang kailangan may mangyari na within their time. Parang I don't know if that's accurate, pero parang every administration yun ang kanilang So they do not really focus on those reforms that will last or endure shift of terms. They want to see yun ang priority, yun makikita na agad within their time kasi hindi nila rin naman, of course, hindi nila kasi hawak or control later on kapag nag-iba ang nasa pwesto, no? So mahirap din naman mag-invest ka sa mga bagay na hindi naman ikaw ang magkakaroon ng control in how to implement it. So naturally, you just have to try to do things na within the earliest possible time within that period. So hindi naman lahat talaga may patience to put in their reforms that are really lasting. So ano bang gagawin natin?
Medyo mahirap na yung mga reforms na iba na systemic, no? For example, yung laging pinag-usapan sa EDCO, hindi naman dapat central office lahat ang may problema, di ba? So what can be devolved to the local government units? Kasi parang mga anak ko yan di ba? In a local government. Even budget-wise. Now, for example, there are some divisions na dahil mayaman yung LGU, talagang well-resourced. No? So sabi ko nga, if you're a well-resourced division because you have an LGU that can afford to give you resources on top of the central office resources, then you should show results with high achievement. No? Kung ganyan na well-resourced kayo. So isa yon sa systemic na solution. But again, sabi mo nga, sino ang maggagawa ng isang systemic na solution which will not just be 6 years if your term of office is just 6? Ito pa, Attorney Ed, Attorney Erap, ito talaga yung naisip ko Di ba kung presidente ka at tumakbo ka, kailangan meron kang education agenda. So sasabihin mo yon nung nagka-campaign ka. Therefore, every single SONA, dun ka sumasagot. Kasi agenda mo yun
Correct.
Now, I think that's also something that our electorate do not expect of presidential balls and vice presidential balls. Di ba? Kasi kung tawag mo yung agenda mo, in fact, dapat nga, pag nanalo ka, pag upo mo, alam mo gagawin mo Kasi nga, pinano mo yan years before you even run for office.
Dapat alam mo kung anong agenda, meron ka agenda, tapos alam mo kung anong hihingin mo. Anong hanapin mo sa mga offices or agencies under the executive, ano ang hihingin mo sa legislature, lalakarin mo to fit your agenda, 'di ba? And then from there, you try to you will really mentor how it will be done. Hindi yung parang you just fit into several agenda of different people, parang nagiging compromise na parang it's a product of real compromise. So hindi nagkakaroon ng talagang agenda on education.
But parang come to think of it, parang lagi naman may basic education development plan, di ba? Lagi naman may Philippine Development Plan.
I think now, kasi parang ako observation ko because lahat tayo ay nafe-feel yung urgency at lahat gusto makatulong. Hindi rin maganda yung parang ngayon nag-overlap yung mga functions, ang gulo na. Parang hindi yung ating government with 3 major branches, meron talaga silang kanya-kanyang ano di ba? Role, no? At meron checks and balances lang. So I think pag-isipan din ng mabuti yan para paano natin maximize yung talagang role ng legislature at ng executive and even judiciary to put in place reforms rather than everyone's trying to trying to fix implementation. Yan pansinin mo, lahat nasa implementation Walang instead of focusing on their area of their role in the government. So masyado ng kaya yung system mismo overburdened na rin Ang daming suggestions, ang daming bago, ang daming gustong gawin. Pero yung bureaucracy, kaya nga na may salitang bureaucracy. Diba? Hindi mo na, sana ayusin mo na yung sistema to capacitate it to implement reforms and organize it better. Alisin yung mga hindi dapat, i-discontinue na yung mga pamparami lang, pampagulo, simplify governance. And I think,
Actually,
simplify it. So it will allow the system can really institute and implement reforms. Kasi kung ngayon dagdag lang tayo ng dagdag, overburdened na yung ating sector, yung systems natin.
yeah, like for example, what came out, no? Because I was reading, di ba? I was asking you about the first 1,000 Years Act. I was asking you about the ECCD system law. And apparently yun, wala pa yatang implementing rules, no? Ito sana ang magsusunod ng problema ng stunting and malnutrition. Tapos pag tinignan mo siya, ang chair pala ng ECCD Council is the DILG, right? And then co-chairing yung DepEd.
Yes.
Now, having said that, yung DepEd, ang dami-dami niyang ibang responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
Other agencies, no? That's why it becomes very complicated, no? Governance, at the level of governance. So, yun na nga, how do we simplify this? And then, yun na nga, parang Filipinos, seriously serious assessment ko to. We do not exact accountability from our government officials. Ibig sabihin, hindi tayo masyadong seryoso sa paghahanap ng resulta. Diba? Ng ating mga na-invest na taxpayers' money, no, sa iba-ibang ahensya.
Yeah. Walang masyadong accountability mechanisms. Pag pinansin mo talaga, Doc, kahit tingnan mo yung mga batas natin, halimbawa, merong pinapa-implement. Tingnan mo, lahat ng mga batas ngayon, let's say, ECCD, hindi ko pa ulit nakita yan or yung aral program. Di ba may mga, so these are the things that need to be done under this law. May mga certain mandates. Pero, walang walang accountability na nilalagay dun sa government agency na mag-implement nun. In fact, sila yung nagre-regulate. Halimbawa, DepEd, pag sinabi na, ito implement mo. Example, voucher program. Ito implement mo. Ano ang magiging effect ng voucher program? Dapat umayos ang both public and private kasi madidecongest nga ang public, magkakaroon ng better choice. So dapat ina-assess yung agency na nag-implement nun di ba? Ito yung dapat ma-meet mo. Hindi yung binibigyan mo lang sila ng task, sila rin yung i-regulate lang nila yung private, pero yung public wala kasing nag-regulate So, kaya ito yung sinasabi ko, Doris, it appears to be very technical, pero yan ang sinasabi ko Let's say, for example, DepEd. DepEd is, who controls DepEd? DepEd is controlled by the legislature. Why? Because DepEd is created by law. So the legislature can cut it down to size, can actually abolish it, no? Kaya may control yung DepEd doon. Pero ang nagsusupervise, ang nag-oversee ng mga tao sa DepEd is executive. That's how you examine the checks and balances Di ba? So, halimbawa, may reklamo na bakit wala accountability. Control it through a law. Legislature should pass a law that makes them accountable, for example. Kung over bureaucratic, edi streamline. How do you do that? By law. Diba? Implementation is with the executive. So kaya lang kasi ngayon parang lahat gusto may kinalaman na sa pag-implement, tinuturuan paano gawin, etc. But that's the function of the executive. That's not the function of the legislature. Of course, they can monitor kasi sila nagpasabatas eh. Checks and balances lang sana 'yon, 'di ba? For purposes of really legislating. Kaya lang hindi na nga hindi na rin malinaw yung the separation of powers kaya may separation of powers. Anyway, it really becomes complicated. In other words, governance sana yung next is more focused on governance.
Probably we should have an episode on that, no? Kasi yun na nga, in EDCOM, when you look at all of the priority areas and then umabot ka sa governance and finance, dun mo marirealize na eto nandito yung, kumbaga parang if you will do a root cause analysis, no? It must be there.
Yeah. Pero like for example ngayon, yung mga naka-file na bills, kanya-kanyang rin, like how to strengthen CHED, how to ganyan. So, walang bigger framework, 'di ba? And then to institute all of these reforms. Kanya-kanya rin eh. So, hindi rin I don't know kung saan tayo pupunta doon if we look at really governance that way na sabi nila working in silos, edi parang hindi pa naman tayo na talaga totally na-break yung Ang maganda lang ngayon, nag-uusap yung mga heads. Pero it's the same, kanya-kanyang pa rin. There's no one singular plan, frame, roadmap. Lagi natin ginagamit yung wala namang isang ganun lang for the agencies. So far, I think they're working on it also. But I hope governance is the next to fix the system.
It's true, but who will fix the system? Sila who are right now running the system? I mean, will they even admit na may problema ang system?
Yeah. Yeah nga, like I said, so that's where you have the separation of powers really eh. Kasi to fix the system, because the system comes from the creation of these agencies, the law that created them, the charters, in other words. Patayusin yan ng legislature. Hindi lahat kasi maaayos mo sa implementation. It's really kailangan independent din yun in a way eh. Na you're not really influenced by how you should change the law because yung legislature siya may control talaga sa agencies na yan eh.
Okay, so ako naman, sige, so given all of these problems, and I talk to a lot of the private schools, ang palagi kong sinasabi, hindi naman talaga siya very uneven din. Private schools can actually do a lot, and even some well-resourced public schools, no? In the science schools, so yun talagang kayang mag-move. Let's keep on moving, no, towards making sure that we meet the standards, we go for quality education, because we cannot despair. Na you have stunting and malnutrition issues, you have very high illiteracy rates, etc. But we have to be very, very purposive at saka talagang magsipag tayo, no? Ako pag sinasabi kong it's not business as usual, I mean that. I mean that. Kumbaga parang sinabi ko rin dati to yung mga estudyante nyo na hindi pumapasa sa mga NATs, okay ba tayo dyan? Ganun lang yun, nireport ko na hindi pumasa, tapos na ba yun? Diba? Yung mga estudyante na mass promote at alam natin non-readers. Okay na tayo? Dahil sinabi mo sa amin na non-readers sila. Diba dapat hindi tayo okay? So we keep on doing what we can in our spheres of influence and then make sure that babalik na naman tayo, Attorney Erap, di naman dahil malapit na yung 2028, pero yun na nga yun, we really need seriousness here. From the level of the president, and siguro hanapan talaga natin ng agenda. Dati sa COCOPEA, very deliberate tayo dyan.
Yeah.
We asked the presidentiables and the vice presidentiables what are their 10-point, at the minimum, education reform agenda. Pag sinabi lang, ito yung 1 to 10 ko, after I've read all of those EDCOM reports, then pag nanalo sila, sisingilin mo yan. Every single SONA should be anchored on whatever was the initial process. At the minimum.
Yeah. Ako gusto ko yung sinabi mo na yung private sector role, no? So I think we need to really maximize that because our system is composed of public and private sectors. So for sure, dapat meron yang benefit in terms of innovation. Iba kasi yung agility, 'di ba? Sa private sector dapat mabilis na kakakilos yan versus sa public. Pero kaya nga may complementary roles Iba yung policy environment sa public, iba yung sa private, iba din ang roles nila. Ang problem, Doris, is ito, and I hope this is shared by many. Ang problem kasi sa atin is, sa ating system, even the private sector is evaluated or assessed based on very secular standards. Di ba? Kailangan sa pinakamura. I mean, parang wala nang ibang consideration. Muna, before anything else, before quality, before innovation, before flexibility, yung ano muna, access, meaning kailangan hindi ka pwedeng, parang ganun lagi, no? At the minimum, mura or libre. So we are assessed. The private sector is always assessed based on secular or public standards. Tingnan mo, classroom size 9 by 7. Ganun ba? Na kasi yun ang ano sa public eh. Kaya sa private, hindi ka pwedeng magkaroon ng classroom na mas maliit kahit mas maliit ang size ng enrollment. So parang very ano no, parang lahat since ito ang ginagawa namin sa public, ito rin dapat sa private. I think because by doing that, hindi na ma-maximize yung innovation, yung creativity sa private sector. Kailangan natin yun as a sector, as an entire education sector. Otherwise, we get stuck. 'Di ba? Andun lang tayo palagi sa minimum. 'Di ba? Hindi makabuelo. Ang makakabuelo lang yung nandiyan na, yung malalaki na, matagal nang kilala, they can.
Nahihirapan din, nahihirapan din yung mga malalaki kasi they also feel that they're overregulated.
Yes.
Accredited, we had an issue, accredited school, pinapagsabit ng senior high school documents. I said, ilabas mo yung DO12. The DepEd's own DepEd order, right? Why is it that they're asking you? So, alam mo, Erap, ako, sinabi ko rin to dati, alam mo yung one size fits all? Parang, sabi lang natin, hindi tayo believers, pero believers yata talagang maraming Pilipino yan. Kasi, di ba? Like, this was the example during the pandemic. Lahat walang pasok. Di ba? Sara nyo lahat ng classrooms niyo kasi may pandemic. And only to find out, in the provinces, it's not the same. The COVID infection rates are not the same. The students are all out in the street playing. Di ba? So, hindi tayo, parang, yun na nga, parang, minsan lazy thinking.
Yeah. Tsaka, so yun ang ano ko, talaga observation ko. Na talagang lahat ay binabase sa public standards. So, wala. It stifles growth, innovation, creativity, which is really very important in an education sector. No? So, wala talaga mangyari sa atin pagka ganito. Yung word na overregulated is overused, pero mas malalim na ano yun di ba? May mas malalim na na problema yan. Na pag tiningnan mo ng malakihan. Kasi kahit pasunurin mo lahat yan, even if all schools are compliant, do we have a guarantee that will say, when you follow all of these things, it will solve all of these problems? Hindi naman We're just looking at you have to follow because that's a mandate. And then that's compliance. Compliance for compliance sake. Di ba? So,
Ay, nako. Isa pa hindi natin nabanggit kanina, assessment. Ang mga, ay nako, ay nako. Dati nga sabi ko, alam mo, after the pandemic, one time, big time, kaya natin lahat ng mga estudyante sa system, i-assess natin. Diba? Of course, that's expensive, that's rather difficult, but what I'm trying to I understand is the baseline. Mag-aminan tayo kung nasa ng mga batang yan. No? Before we even talk about all of these changes in the curriculum, before we talk about innovations that we want to do in the system, di ba? Hanapin niyo muna yung mga bata, nasaan talaga sila, no? Kasi ito nga, pinapaliwanag nga ng EDCOM yan, na parang, if the students are really not independent readers at senior high school, it means to say, K to 10, walang nangyaring maayos dyan.
Tsaka dapat ngayon naman, lagi na ng pag-uusapan ng research, data. Sana seryosohin naman talaga yon. For example, if you're changing a policy, lalo na yung mga matatagal na, why are you changing it to something else? Is there empirical data that would show na because you're doing this before, ito yung resulta? At if we do this now na ganito, ito yung result. Hindi yung parang nagiging trial and error. Tapos,
Right.
may form of fatigue na nga daw ang mga tao. So,
Right.
I think we have to do a better job in that. Na talagang policy should be grounded or anchored on empirical data. Hindi na pwede ngayon yung kasi gusto lang natin, like shifting passions of our leaders. That's the number one problem. Capricious, whimsical, all of that, no? Arbitrary. Dapat wala nang ganon eh.
Oh, grabe. Nag-thesaurus ka ba? Talagang ano mo, anak.
Yan ang mga ginagamit kasi sa usually sa batas. Sabi pagka hindi ka consultative, ang mga issuances, remember these are regulations ha. Ibig sabihin you regulate, no? Ibig sabihin without that regulation, ibig sabihin you're free to do whatever it is as long as it's not against the law, di ba? So when you introduce a regulation, it should be justified. Why are you regulating? So in a school setting, why are you limiting it to this? Why are you prohibiting, for example, on online?
Mm.
Diba? Or homeschooling. You have to have data on that. Otherwise, then people should be free in doing it. What are you trying to regulate? What is the evil that you're trying to avoid? Diba? Wala naman tayo masyadong nababasa na ganyan. So, transparency.
Also, sabi ko nga, parang where are you coming from? That's why your policymaker should, to my mind, aside from being data-driven and data broader. In other words, hindi kasi mas mabuti to sa public. Di bali na ang private. Parang wag ganun. Hindi naman pwedeng favorable lang sa private. Di ba? Parang, you should always be thinking of one education system, two drivers, always. That's always your bottom line. So, babalik na naman tayo dito dun sa DO6 na nilabas noong 2024. Up to now, wala pa rin siyang operationalization. Yan sana yan. Na dapat na very clear mindset, no? We always say public-private do not complete, they complement. But, on the ground, if you will, you just ask the private school teachers and private school administrators, they will say how they feel that they're second class.
Yeah.
Anyway, alam mo, 8:07 na. Wala pa tayong guest ng lagay na yan.
Oo nga, talagang pag pinag-usapan ito, kasi naman, state of the nation.
Pero may
So, ng
wins
education.
naman. We have successes, there are wins, no? But really, I mean, for all of us Filipinos concerned about, our nation, our learners, our children, di ba? Talagang, malaking problema ang ating learning crisis and there's all of these problems in the education landscape. At let's really make sure that, we keep on moving forward, no? Kasi malaki na, like yung stunting, malaman-laman natin, very recently, tumaas na naman ang figures. So, hindi pala tayo pababa. Tumaas pa. Diba yung number of babies, no? Who are stunted, no? Parang, bakit pa atras?
Alam mo, may isa pang but this is maybe subject of another episode. Yung stunting, ganyan. Pero yung mga children with disabilities, yung mga special needs, mataas din. Napansin ko talaga sa mga schools, when I go around sa private schools, talagang laging problem din yan ng mga schools. Maraming parents talaga na lumalapit, they have special needs. Children. So, while you have the Inclusivity in Education Act, ibig sabihin, education should be inclusive, you cannot refuse admission. Pero, dapat meron ding dapat palakasin din yung mga schools, capacitate them, no? Improve their resources, support them also so that they can really implement an inclusive education. Kasi kung hahayaan lang din natin, wala din. No? So anyway, that's one yung tumataas. I think they have to check that, yung data ng pagtaas ng special needs students. And the problem is not solved by saying just open the schools and allow them.
No.
Diba? What are we doing also in terms of ano yung additional resources? Ano yung specialization ng mga teachers, di ba?
Right. So when I was in Davao City, I also had the privilege to visit a school, no, who was doing programs for neurodivergent children. No? Ito, another private school to. This was Stockbridge International. And talagang pag nakita mo, hindi talaga pwedeng, hindi, yung assessment mo is very systematic. 'di ba? Dito sa mga ganitong klaseng bata. Pero nakita kong programa nila na nakakatuwa. Meron silang program for 6 months. Children who are 6 months to under 5. 'Di ba? Kaya lumabas yan sa report din ng ng kanina sa press con ng Philippine Business for Education, ang layo ng achievement ng mga high-income families versus the low-income families.
Because they
Because
start early and they have longer years of education.
and then they're not malnourished. Imagine that. So, the unevenness is real.
Mm.
Okay. Maraming salamat sa ating dalawa. Joke lang. Wala tayo.
Di, alam mo, ako minsan, pag naisip ko gata discussion natin, so, syempre, like the Secretary Angara, Chair Agrupis Kiko, I'm sure, lahat ito, no? Of course, we cannot also imagine if being in their shoes na trying to solve all of these problems coming all at once. Mabigat talaga. So, hindi pwedeng sila lang talaga. We all have to help, no?
Oo, kasi yung mga 'di ba, yung child stunting, malnutrition and the early years, DILG, TOH, DSWD, hindi naman yun yung mga ahensya, no? That's why itong tatlo, whenever I would message them, especially on milestone events, I always say thank you for what you do. Kasi laki ng problema na talagang pinasok ng mga to, which when they started 2024,
Yeah.
middle of 2024.
Ay, nako.
Okay.
Anyway,
So anyway, habang may buhay, may pag-asa. Of course,
pag-asa. So it's a continuing discussion where
we don't give up on our
we don't
on
give
our
up, but hopefully we find the solution that would create more impact than what we know so far. Otherwise, it will really take a long time. No? Sana abutin pa natin.
So maglagay tayo ng mga tamang tao.
Maglagay ng tamang tao. At syempre, yung sistema.
Elect natin ang mga tamang tao, di ba? Pero syempre yan, easier said than done. Babalik ka naman sa dynasties, babalik ka naman sa patronage politics. Medyo malaking problema talaga ng ating bansa.
Yung sistema na para hindi lang yung maayos yung leader pero hindi nararamdaman all the way sa baba kasi napakalaki ng ano. So, system should really be in place. Tamang tao pero tamang sistema din.
Tamang tao. Saka, tama rin ang puso.
Tamang puso. Sa tamang lugar.
Hindi yung performative, no? Yung favorite word ng maraming tao, no?
Ngayon, gano'n na public service has been reduced to performance, di ba? Like a public performance. So, nawala na yung real public service. Naging ano na siya, performance-based. You're doing good if you're communicating it better or well, pero pag hindi. So, hindi na ako masyadong believe sa I mean, if the cameras are rolling, then you're doing good. Probably that's not what you're doing when the cameras are not rolling or when social media is not watching. Kaya hindi ako believe sa ganun
Ako naman sa PAC, palagi ko sinasabi, pag yung mga tao dito, syempre napapagod na sa heavy lifting. No? I say that this is the daily grind. Yung araw-araw mong tatrabahuhin, yung trabaho mo, di ba? Nang talagang tama, na talagang iniisip mo yung sektor na pinagsisilbihan mo, di ba? Parang, of course, hindi naman sa akin, nagbubuhat ako ng bangko. But many executive agencies, no, also are very purposive and trying so hard. That's the daily grind, no? Kaya, we should have more of these people.
Yeah. Choose well and recognize people who are really doing a good job.
Ay, nako. Okay.
So, teka, bago tayo magtapos, baka meron kang gustong batiin dyan or any announcements? Meron ka bang mga upcoming
Yes, so on August 8 and August 15, we're already having Raxo and the leaders playbook. Yeah, so
exciting yan.
Dr. Gina Montalan and myself, and then Dr. Rapatan and Ryan Galego. So please register. This is very cost efficient and it should be very helpful, especially in the areas of the 3-term calendar design, the assessment on how to operationalize the latest DepEd orders, and then learning progression. And I also want to greet my siblings Kasi talaga nagpapa-shoutout sila, Rap, I hope you're okay. So my
Yeah.
and my sisters-in-law. So especially si Roma tsaka si Lai, kasi kanina kasama ko sila, no? I was in San Fernando for something urgent, something personal and urgent, but they said, shoutout mo kami ha, they knew I was driving back to Manila.
Oh, okay. Nice. Ako naman, August 6, I'll be in NU Fairview sa kanilang commencement exercises. So I'll be their commencement speaker. Tapos sa August 7, merong Learning and Development Day sa Lasal Green Hills. See you there. Pero this is online, so hope to see our 500 plus faculty and staff. Yan. Yan ang school ng aking mga anak.
Oh, tama.
So, andyan ako. Not as a parent that day, but as a lecturer. Tapos sa ating, sa ano naman, sa August 10, andyan ako sa UST sa Santa Rosa, Laguna. Yan, UST Laguna. August 12 sa PCU, Dasmariñas. And August 18 sa University of Nueva Cáceres. Yun na lang muna kasi masyado na matagal yung iba. But
Sige.
I'll see you there sa ating mga kasama sa private education. Eh, alam mo, marami rin ako natututunan pag umiikot ako. Bukod sa
Oo.
tema, marami tayong natututunan sa di ba? Sa mga schools, no?
At saka ako talaga nagvi-visit din kami sa mga schools and then mo makikita no on the ground no paano
Yeah.
talaga nagsisikap no yung ating mga eskwelahan para talagang ma-achieve no yung kanilang vision, mission, tapos yung quality education na pinag-uusapan naman na I hope it's really everyone's mission.
Yeah. So, anyway, yung mga yung inyong leaders playbook, maganda yan. Yung aking palang mga aking mga schools, mga client dito sa law office. Alam mo yung manood kayo yan. Madalas kasi natatanong ako kahit hindi yan ang area ko eh. Legal lang ako. Ito, this is your chance to hear from the best
Yeah.
leaders in the academy and learn from their actual experiences.
I saw Manila Times President si Monica Ang is here. Nation building, nation before self. Sabi niya, totoo naman. No? Nation before self. Tama yan.
Nation before self. Ganda yun na. Gandang tagline yun na. Next time sa Usapang Ed. Yun ang tagline na.
Hi Monica, hi Royce. And
Hello,
Monica.
Monica.
St. Paul Pasig Director. Hi sister. Ayan, very good school yan. St. Paul Pasig. Okay, so we'd like to thank everyone for watching. We'll see you on Monday. We'll be back at the studio. This time we'll be talking about ang wikang Filipino. Ayan.
Ba, malalim.
Walang
Ayaw ng mga bata yan. Sila, ayaw makinig ng mga bata pag mga ganyan ang usapan. Malalim.
Kailangan natin mapag-usapan yan, no? Kasi
It's very important.
rin natin, yung pagiging Filipino natin, yan ba ay talagang mahalaga ba dyan yung wika? No? Para sa pagmamahal sa bayan. No? Ayan.
Okay, next week yan. So, maraming salamat, Doc D. Maraming salamat sa mga nakasama namin ngayong gabi. Ako po si Attorney E.
And this is Doc D. Dito sa
Usapang Ed.
Season
2.